On my 80th birthday, my husband and adopted daughter pushed me off the rooftop, causing my death. After I died, they even dug up my family's ancestral grave. All of this because, over 60 years ago, I refused to give money to a poor student I had sponsored for milk powder. I had advised her to abort the child, but she chose to keep it, only to die in a rented room later, unable to afford medical care. My husband held a grudge against me for it. "It's all your fault for ruining Ria's life. If you'd just given her the money, I would have been with her by now," he said. "But it's fine. The daughter you adopted is mine and Ria's child. After you die, everything you own will go to her. Good thing you never wanted children. You deserve this." Only then did I realize that the money I had given my husband for his college tuition and living expenses had been used to support the child Ria had born. In this second life, I thought, if they want children so badly, let them see if they can even afford to buy milk powder for one. Before my 80th birthday, I had always thought I was lucky in life, born into a wealthy family, loved by my parents, and with no siblings. I grew up well cared for. I took over the family business smoothly when I was older. And my love life was stable as well. Marrying a boy my family had supported since childhood. Our marriage was happy. And my husband accepted my decision not to have children. We adopted a sweet and obedient daughter. As she grew, she entered a prestigious university and, following my arrangements, joined the company. I lived a life free of disease or disaster, until my late 70s when I became unable to walk and needed a wheelchair. But on my 80th birthday, my adopted daughter and husband pushed me off the rooftop. And they said it was all because of the poor student I had helped many years ago. "If it weren't for you, I would have been with Ria by now. You're so rich. Why couldn't you have given some money to Ria to raise the child? If you had, Ria wouldn't have dropped out and died in that rented room. I've endured all these years just for this moment. I want you to feel the pain Ria went through back then." My adopted daughter echoed him. I couldn't believe it. I asked my adopted daughter in disbelief, "Sylvia, how could you do this to me? I've been so good to you. Even handed the company over to you. And yet you repay me like this?" She looked at me with hatred in her eyes. "You're not my mother. It's all your fault. If you'd given my mom the money, she'd still be alive today. Do I still need to recognize you as my mother? You deserve everything that's happening to you." I couldn't believe she would say such things. My husband sneered, surprised. "Huh? Sylvia is my daughter with Ria. After Ria died, I raised her alone. Thanks to you not wanting children. I had a legitimate reason to bring her home. I'll tell you now. You deserve this. All your family's assets will go to me and Ria's daughter after you die. I'll dig up your family's ancestral grave and make sure your parents never find peace even after death. This is the consequence of being unwilling to help. The retribution for your greed." It was then that I remembered. Just the day before, my husband had coaxed me into making a will, leaving all my assets to my daughter after my death. I had agreed, thinking I was old and that I wanted to prevent any influence from relatives on my adopted daughter after my passing. I didn't realize they would act so soon. In the end, my husband and adopted daughter pushed me off the rooftop, killing me. After my death, my ashes were dumped into a filthy ditch. And they even dug up my parents' grave. This time, in my second life, they won't get a penny from me. I'll watch and see if they can even scrape together money for a baby's milk powder. I looked at the time and realized I had been reborn into the first semester of my senior year of high school. I was in a classroom that had long become unfamiliar to me. During the break, I stepped outside to make a call and instructed my parents to stop the financial support for Gideon and Ria. Although I had lived to 80 in my previous life, being reborn only seemed to have added an extra memory. My character and temper seemed more like my younger self, perhaps influenced by my body. When my parents heard me, they seemed concerned and asked if I was being bullied at school, telling me to speak up if I was. I was already angry in my heart, remembering how I had let them suffer in the past. "It's okay, Mom and Dad. I'll handle it myself," I said. "Just remember to stop their financial support." My parents didn't ask further and agreed. Later that afternoon, a friend called me from the door. "Frost, there's someone looking for you outside." I went out and saw Ria, dressed in a school uniform, trying to hide her slightly bulging stomach. She looked around and then whispered to me. "Frost. I need to talk to you. Can we go somewhere private?" Her tear-filled eyes made it seem as if I had bullied her. People nearby began to look over. In my past life, I had agreed to her request and taken her to a secluded place. But when she dropped out, people spread rumors that I had bullied her, leading to her withdrawal. Although my classmates didn't believe it, my reputation at school took a hit. At the time, I couldn't be bothered to explain. Later, it was used against me by business competitors, who turned it into a public attack. I had to spend effort clearing my name. "Sorry. I don't plan to talk to you this time." I turned to return to my seat. "No, please don't go. I beg you." Ria suddenly knelt down, clutching my clothes, and burst into tears. "Someone help. She's morally blackmailing me." Oh my God. Even high schoolers are pulling this kind of stunt. I didn't do anything. "Quick, what? Call the teacher. Someone is trying to hurt me." Since Ria didn't want people to know, I made sure to cause a scene. I shouted loudly, drawing attention, and soon a crowd gathered around us. Some of my classmates stepped forward to speak on my behalf. "Ria, Sylvia's family is wealthy, but you don't need to do this." Hearing the whispers around her, Ria's face turned pale. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to ask for her help." Taking advantage of the situation, I yanked my clothes away from her grip and took a step back, avoiding her trap. She had just gotten pregnant. And if she lost the baby, who would be responsible? "If you didn't do anything, then get up. Who asks for help while kneeling? I think you're trying to frame me." Ria had no choice but to stand up, her eyes filled with tears, looking utterly pitiful. "Since you want my help, go ahead and speak up," I said. Ria glanced around but stayed silent, her head lowered as she stared at the ground. The people around her waited, growing impatient at her silence. A mischievous voice called out a few times. "Say something. Are you playing mute now?" "Yeah, out. What's there that can't be said in public?" I shouted at the crowd. "Shut up already, or she'll end up kneeling before you. And we'd all be guilty of bullying her. Just watching the drama and getting caught up in it." The crowd fell silent. But the impression of Ria's moral coercion lingered. I waited for a moment. But when she still didn't respond, I prepared to leave. Suddenly, she yelled out. Can you give me some money?" "Money? Why?" I asked. "I can't say. I just need a few $100,000. At her words, the crowd gasped. "A few $100,000? Ria sure had some nerve." "No," I answered flatly. "Why not? A few $100,000 is nothing to you. Why can't you lend it to me?" "Heh. I do have money. But why should I just give it to you for no reason?" Ria clutched her clothes, acting pitiful like a little flower in distress. "If you don't give me the money, I won't take the college entrance exam. Then all the money I've given you so far would be a waste." I laughed. Ria had tried this same threat in my past life, but my support had been out of kindness. And whether she took the exam or not had nothing to do with me. Her success wouldn't help me in any way. Of course, I refused and cut off her funding. If she didn't need it, and it was better to give it to someone who did. At least they wouldn't end up pregnant before marriage and ruin their future. After hearing Ria's words, the crowd started to murmur that she must be out of her mind. My friend looked at me, a teasing smile on his face. "So, you funded a fool. She's not just stupid. Now she wants to scam you too," I joked. Ria seemed offended and snapped at me. "How dare you insult me like that? Just because I have a little money? Who cares about your money? Fine, cutting till Silva and sorry. I'll cut off your funding. Since you're so picky, I'll give it to others who actually need help." "Wait. You can't do that. That's my money," she screamed. I laughed and hooked my arm around my friend's. "Hey, heading for Silva and session. What do you think if I start treating her living expenses as a scholarship?" My friend thought for a moment. "I'm in. Consider it my share." Our school was a prestigious private institution with many wealthy students. But it also admitted a number of academically gifted impoverished students. My parents had always taught me to have empathy and engage in charity. So I used my pocket money to support dozens of students. It was well known among the school community, and occasionally the people I sponsored would come to me when they were in trouble. I was happy to help. But the more people you help, the more types of people you encounter. Ria had taken me for a fool, demanding money for everything, even for pregnancy costs. There was no way I was giving her that. Ria was getting desperate. No. You're bullying me. That money is mine. How can you give it to someone else? I wasn't bothered by her tantrum. She stomped her feet in frustration. I smiled, looking at her. All right. Let's stop this charade. Tell me why you need the money, and I might consider it. You need money, don't you? Go ahead and speak. She went quiet, her eyes shifting as though she'd been wronged. Finally, having fulfilled my obsession, as if making a decision, she spoke. Because I'm pregnant. I need money to raise the child. I don't want much. Just a few $100,000, and to have the baby. I'll be grateful to you. The crowd gasped, their eyes widening in shock as they looked at Ria's stomach. My friend slapped me on the shoulder. You really don't know how to pick who to sponsor. You'd be better off giving it to me. At least I wouldn't be getting someone pregnant and then asking for money to raise the child. I knew this incident would probably be something I'd be mocked for the rest of my life. I said, give me the money, Ria demanded, looking at the chaotic crowd. She wanted to leave but hadn't gotten the money yet. So she quickly added, well, I've said it. I'll think about it. But the conclusion is no. Ria glared at me, her voice sharp with anger. I told you. Why won't you give it to me? I'm pregnant and need money. You don't give me money. How is a girl like me supposed to raise a child? I almost laughed from the absurdity of it. She was so righteous about it. Don't you dare blame me for your pregnancy. It wasn't me who got you pregnant. Why don't you go look for the father of the child instead of coming to me? How is the child mine? In my past life, I had advised her to abort the pregnancy. But she stubbornly refused, saying it was a product of her love with her boyfriend. Her family didn't approve either, but she chose to drop out of school rather than have an abortion. She even moved into a rented place on her own. In the end, she refused to go to the hospital to save money. And she died. Her child became my adopted daughter. In this life, I wasn't going to help her raise her child. You're too much. How could you humiliate me like this? You're just jealous of me. That's why you won't help me. My friend chimed in, cursing at her. Sis. If you have a mental problem, go get it treated. You don't even have money for the kid, and you're thinking about having a child? Is the baby supposed to survive on air? Ridiculous. Exactly. What are you even jealous of? Jealous of your high school pregnancy? The baby daddy doesn't take responsibility. And now you want a sponsor to pay for the baby? Ria heard these words and still refused to leave. Just then, Gideon arrived. He grabbed Ria's hand, positioning himself like a hero in front of her, looking at me as if I were his enemy. From the look in his eyes, I realized that Gideon had also been reborn. Frost. How can you be so cruel? Ria is a fragile woman. And you're all ganging up on her. This is too much. This is bullying. Don't you have a conscience? The people around, who had only been watching, now started to protest. They didn't want to be labeled as bullies just for observing. Are you crazy? She's the one who got pregnant out of wedlock and is asking Frost for money. And now she's pretending to be so pitiful, making it seem like we're the ones bullying her. Yeah. Didn't you hear? She's the one morally blackmailing others. I was just watching the drama. I didn't do anything. You're the one who came here and started accusing us. Why are you so protective? Could it be you're the father of the child? Gideon's face darkened. When had anyone dared to speak to him like this? Hearing these words, he pulled Ria's hand. Yes, Havosaya. I am the father of the child. Frost. Give me the money now. Or don't blame me for being rude. Gideon shouted. Come and take it then. What? Are you trying to rob me now? I retorted. I told you. I only have Ria in my heart. Don't even think about me liking you. Are you out of your mind? When have I ever liked you? And what do you need money for? Are you begging? You're so proud. Then raise her yourself. Don't you call yourself the father of the child? Why don't you pay for it? I shot back. Gideon stood stunned for a moment before shouting again. I don't need your money. I can raise them both just fine. Fine. Don't worry. I'll stop funding you too. I replied calmly. He froze. After years of living in luxury, he had long forgotten that all his living expenses and tuition fees from elementary school onward had been supported by me. Even the money for raising his child in college had been diverted from the funds I gave him. Every month, the money I sent him not only covered all his tuition and living costs but also left him with extra. But Gideon never had the habit of saving money. Now that the funds were cut off, he had no idea how he would survive next month. Still, he puffed his chest and said, looking at Rhea behind him, I don't need your money. A man like me doesn't need you to help. Don't think just because you have some money, everyone's supposed to worship you. If worse comes to worst, I'll work to support her and the child. Rhea looked at Gideon with admiration. And Gideon gazed back at her. I clapped my hands. What a touching scene. I couldn't help but wonder how long their so-called love could withstand the grind of daily life. The teacher arrived and inquired about the situation. Then took Rhea and Gideon away. They later some and their parents. Rhea's parents slapped Gideon several times right in front of me. And immediately dragged her off, intending to force an abortion. But Rhea refused vehemently and even said she wanted to sever ties with them. Her parents were furious, declaring they would never care for her again. Gideon's father had passed away when he was young, and his mother had raised him with great difficulty. When she heard that her son had gotten another girl pregnant in high school, she was so enraged she collapsed. She had always been in poor health, and the shock of the news sent her into a fatal condition. After dealing with the funeral, Gideon rushed into the classroom and yelled at me. Did you do this on purpose? It's all your fault my mother is dead. I'm telling you, I won't break up with Rhea. Now my mother's gone. You have to pay me compensation at least $2 million. Not a penny less. Are you out of your mind? Didn't you make a mess of things yourself? I shot back. Shut up. If it weren't for you, my mom wouldn't have known about it. It's all because of you. Just as I saw the teacher approaching, I didn't want to argue with him. I had the teacher take him away. Gideon and Rhea felt like the entire world was obstructing their love. They believed they were blameless and that the world was in the wrong. They reveled in the idea of fighting the world for their love. But it had nothing to do with me. If they wanted to persist, let them. I had already arranged for a few bodyguards for my protection. Gideon was given a disciplinary warning. With no income sources, he had to take up odd jobs. Rhea, being weak, couldn't do any heavy labor. So Gideon worked hard to support both her and the child. At first, he could barely manage to juggle working and studying. But as Rhea's pregnancy progressed, the doctor recommended she take better care of herself, advising her not to just eat carrots and cabbage. She had multiple checkups, each costing several hundred. As Rhea's pregnancy expenses piled up, Gideon's part-time wages were insufficient to cover it all. Eventually, having fulfilled wild socially, Gideon dropped out of school. He worked full-time, supporting Rhea and her child. He thought he could rely on his talent to find a high-paying job, or perhaps use the knowledge of his past life to invest and make money. But he forgot that he was now just an underage dropout with no formal qualifications, and no legitimate company would hire him. He thought of investing in promising future businesses, only to realize he had no capital, no connections, no resources, nothing to invest. With no other options, he was forced to do physical labor to earn a little money. He hoped to save up enough to make a comeback and have me pay for his mistakes. A few days before the college entrance exams, Rhea went into labor. This time, Gideon had prepared in advance. They went to the hospital, and mother and child were both safe. As a result, Rhea missed the exams. After the baby was born, the expenses piled up: formula, diapers, everything was something they couldn't afford to skimp on. In my previous life, Gideon had hired someone to take care of the baby, but this time, with no money, they had to do it themselves. Gideon had to work, leaving Rhea to take care of the child on her own. Rhea was just a high school student, and no one had told her how to be a mother. She had to figure it out herself. The baby cried through the night, and neither of them could sleep. The baby constantly needed feeding and changing. There was no time to rest, and they were exhausted. Rhea didn't have anyone to take care of her during her confinement, and to save on medical costs, she returned home early. Her body didn't fully recover, and she developed health issues. She leaked milk, had urinary problems, and her back hurt when sitting. While learning how to care for the baby only, Rhea couldn't help but notice how other pregnant women lived. They had their parents and partners with them, unlike her alone in her struggles. Faced with the poverty of her life, even the diapers for the baby had to be used sparingly. One day, a friend called. "Rhea, I finally got my own phone. How are you doing? I'm telling you, I got into university undergraduate. My mom finally agreed to buy me a phone. And she even gave me several $1,000 to travel and rest. That's why I'm only contacting you now. Do you want to join me? By the way, you did so well in the exams. Which university did you get into? I heard your school has an event where the top 10 get their full tuition paid and a cash reward. Aren't you always in the top ranks? I'm so envious of you. You don't even have to pay for tuition." Rhea couldn't respond. She ended the call in silence, the weight of her life sinking in. Her old friends had just completed their college entrance exams, now enjoying their summer holidays and looking forward to their future university life. Meanwhile, she had missed the exams. It felt like everyone was happy, moving forward, while she remained trapped in the misery of her life with no future in sight. She started to regret her decision to have a child. Was it the right choice? Facing the crying child, she no longer felt joy but growing resentment. It was the child's fault if it weren't for the baby. She should be preparing for university, enjoying the same happiness as her peers. She had always been in the top 10 in her class. If it had been her, she could have gotten into a good university and found a great job in the future. She began to fantasize, what if she hadn't had the child? What if she hadn't known Gideon? What if she were still in school? But life must go on, and poverty breeds its own frictions. Rhea and Gideon fought constantly. Gideon accused her of squandering money and never learning to be frugal. "I'm out there working hard, and you just waste it," he would say. "You already have clothes, why do you need more?" Rhea shot back. "What do you mean? I only bought one dress. I haven't bought anything in months. After I gave birth my body changed, none of my old clothes fit. I had to buy new ones." "That's just an excuse," he snapped. Her anger flared. "You treat me like this only because I had a baby. You promised you'd take care of me. I gave up the college entrance exam for you. If it weren't for you, I should be preparing for university right now." Hearing that, Gideon grew angrier still. He also remembered the last life and felt Rhea owed him. After all, he'd given up more than she had. He'd given up being with me. Given up the chance at a prestigious university. Given up past comforts and privileges. Thinking of it made his blood boil. "Fine. Yes. I did it on purpose," he said. "If you don't like it, you can leave. Where else would you go? Your parents abandoned you long ago, and you have no money. Try leaving. See how long you last. You'll be crawling back before long." Rhea couldn't believe that the man she loved could show such a face. She cried and retreated to the bedroom, slammed the door, and pressed her hands to her ears to block out the sound of the baby crying and Gideon throwing things. Still, she stayed. She wanted to repeat the exam. Gideon refused, saying who would care for the child if she retook it. In the end she didn't go. In a life no one understood, a new vice crept in: gambling. It started with harmless Mothorn to kill time. Then a friend introduced her to real gambling. She secretly took Gideon's money and went to play. At first she lost and told herself she'd quit after one more round, then she won. That single win proved intoxicating and she could not stop. The habit swallowed them, days wore away. Love eroded. Arguments became the norm. Sylvia, this life called Sylvia, lived exactly as she'd wished at first, raised by her biological mother. But her mother did not like her and paid no real heed to her needs. Only because Sylvia remembered her previous life and because Gideon cared for her did she survive. Sylvia didn't understand why Gideon was so kind to her. But she didn't mind so long as he brought money home for her. But the money Gideon brought was gobbled up as Rhea's gambling stake. Little of it ever went to Sylvia. Gideon longed to abandon Rhea and beg my forgiveness to become his matchmaker again. He figured that because I had no biological children, I would adopt Sylvia, make her heir. And for the child's sake I would forgive him, then all the wealth and honor would still be his. At first Sylvia resisted going to me. She wanted to stay with Rhea. And no matter how Gideon tried to persuade her, she was determined to remain by her mother's side. With memories from her last life, memories of Rhea dying young to give birth into Gideon's care, Sylvia had idealized Rhea. In her mind, no amount of my sacrifice could equal what Rhea had done. Rhea must love her more. If Rhea were alive she would be kinder, more tender. So at the beginning of this life Sylvia sought closeness, nursing high expectations. Rhea's behavior shattered those illusions. She neither cared for Sylvia properly, nor spared her the blows and scorn when the gambling losses piled up. "It's because of you, you slut, that I've ended up like this," Rhea would howl. "If it weren't for you I'd be a top student, I wouldn't have to gamble for money. Why are you still alive?" She'd spit. Sylvia was only a child. She could only take the beatings in silence. She still clung to hope that if she tried harder, her mother would change, would see her love and return it. But nothing changed. Even when Sylvia behaved obediently, Rhea resented her as a nuisance. Once Sylvia ran a high fever and begged Rhea for medicine. Rhea refused. She was eager to go gamble and couldn't be bothered. "Mom, please. I'm burning up. I feel so awful." "Get out. You're faking. What's a fever, just tough it out," Rhea snapped. Gideon came home and rescued Sylvia that time. When she reached school age and asked Rhea for money to buy books, Rhea refused again. Gideon, furious, confronted her. "I give you so much every month, where does it all go?" "What so much? You only earn a little. Look at how much other men bring home," Rhea sneered. No means no. Gideon lost control and moved to strike Rhea. Sylvia begged him not to. "Dad, don't hit Mom. I can pick up trash to earn the money myself." The argument ended in a cold household. Sylvia spent her days scavenging, collecting bottles and scraps to save for school books. When she finally scraped enough together, Rhea snatched the money. "Mom, that's my money for school, the money I must give the teacher." "What's school money?" "Your money is my money." "No books. No school?" Rhea barked. "I didn't have money either when I was young, borrowed from classmates and still did fine." "Get out. Don't cling to me. I'm in a foul mood, don't force me to hit you." Powerless, Sylvia watched Rhea walk away. Regret pricked at her. But she couldn't accept the truth. She told herself it was her fault, that her refusal to change had made her mother stop loving her. Rhea's bets escalated until she even lost the family home. When the truth could no longer be hidden, panic gripped her. She tried to take the last valuable thing and run. "Mom, what are you doing?" Sylvia cried. "Get lost. If I don't leave now, they'll kill me." "Mom, are you abandoning me?" "Abandon you? I ruined my whole life because of you. Why would I want you?" I watched Rhea run off with my own eyes and called Gideon back. Later a gang of debt collectors came and drove both of them out. After the college entrance exams, I took the money I had planned to give to Rhea and Gideon, the pocket money, and the reward my parents had set aside, and turned it all into scholarships for top students. A few friends who heard about it also donated generously. The school held an event in support of the fund. I went on to university. And after graduating I, like in my previous life, took over the family company. With the lessons of the last life, I ran it better. The business flourished. One day my assistant told me a man and a child were waiting downstairs to see me. I had them sent up. It was Gideon and Sylvia. Sylvia was in rags, malnourished and much thinner than her peers. Her face marked with bruises and limping when she walked. When she saw me she spat, not even hiding her dislike. "It's all your fault, my dad and mom are like this. They shouldn't be suffering. You had one lesson in the last life. Why still refuse to hand over the money?" She continued. Her expression was not that of a trapped child. She looked like someone who'd been hardened. I realized my adopted daughter had returned. I smiled. "Isn't this what you wanted? This time I haven't interfered." "You lie. If it weren't for you, Mom would still love Dad and me." She shot back. "In the last life she would have died for me. Dad said Mom loved him, she was gentle and pretty. If she were alive she'd be gentle to me. But now Mom's a gambling wreck, she's only like this because of you." Her words were absurd enough to amuse me. So I turned her into a gambler. What are you going to do about it? Besides, why would she ever love you? You ruined her future. You and she both romanticize things that never happened. Of course you'd think you'd be better off without him. So you have every reason to hate me. She'll hate you too. Sylvia's face went pale. She lowered her head and swallowed back tears. Seeing us locked in that cold exchange, Gideon grabbed Sylvia's hand. Sylvia, hurry up and apologize to your mother, he urged. Frost, I was wrong. For the child's sake, please forgive us? Sylvia, humiliated, nevertheless mouthed the apology expected of her. I'm sorry, Mom. I was wrong. Please forgive me? I'll take care of you from now on. After everything, they were still clinging to fanciful hopes. Are you out of your minds? Why should I accept your apology? I snapped. Gideon, affronted that I wouldn't play along, tried to cajole me. Frost, don't be difficult. If you don't leave the estate to Sylvia, who else will you leave it to? You don't want kids who would marry you? Even if you adopt someone now, the family fortune goes to an outsider. So really, who cares who it's left to? Sylvia will still call you mother eventually. You raised her for so long last life. Would you let her suffer outside? Don't be so extreme. We've apologized. If things go back to how they were, I promise I'll treat you right this time. Sylvia lifted her head and glared. Yeah. Keep this up, and when I inherit I'll send you to a nursing home. You have no children. What else can you rely on but me? Everything from the Frost family will be mine. You treat me better now, and I might remember your kindness. He had a point. I had no intention of giving birth, and I wasn't planning to adopt again. I let them think their dreams meant anything and then answered them with a calm smile. Gideon, I truly don't plan to have children. And I won't be adopting anymore. At my words, Gideon's eyes lit up and his mouth twitched into a hopeful grin. I continued, but since I came back, I asked my parents for one thing. I now have a brother and sister. My younger siblings are in kindergarten. My family fortune doesn't need you to inherit it. You two are dreaming far too proudly. Gideon shot to his feet, panicked. That's impossible. How could you do that? If you have siblings. What about Sylvia? What about me? Sylvia's face crumpled into genuine fear. Mom, how could you give my money away? I was wrong. I won't do it again. Please don't abandon me. Okay? You're lying to me, right? To shatter their illusions, I placed a video call. Sister, when are you coming home? I miss you. I miss you too, more than him. No, I miss big sister the most. The voices of my little brother and sister Tyrnan and Keaton came through, and both Gideon and Sylvia went utterly white. I had security escort them out. They tried to fight, but were dragged away. I told the debt collectors where to find them and let them teach those two a lesson. From then on they were forced into a life of dodging debts. Tyrnan couldn't bear it. He killed himself. I had his ashes thrown into a cesspit. Keaton went mad, roaming the streets and calling every passerby mom. I worked for a while. And when my brother and sister grew up I stepped down to enjoy my life. On the day of the Gaokao the class beauty, Ada, left her admission ticket at home. When my boyfriend, Edgar, found out, he insisted on going to get it himself. I was just about to persuade him not to go when a flood of bullet comments popped up in front of me. Baby, Ebi, don't try to stop him, he'll kill you. Even the female-led herself doesn't know. The person who's always been in the male-led's heart is actually the class beauty. Outside the exam venue, Edgar ran towards me. Sweat soaked the strands of hair on his forehead, but he paid no attention to it. He hurried to say, I have to go back to get Ava's admission ticket. Staring at the screen full of don't stop him comments, I said hesitantly, haha. Then go quickly. Edgar was stunned. Cheating ever seen me agree so easily before. I'm leading then. If I end up missing the Gaokao. So he didn't know how important the Gaokao was. Ava suddenly darted out from the side. Edgar, which is more important, the Gaokao or me? You, of course, Edgar replied. He ruffled her hair, then ran away from the exam venue, disappearing into the crowd. It turned out, the world I lived in was a movie. Edgar was the male lead. I was the female lead. And Ava was his deceased first love. In the original plot, I tried to stop Edgar from going back. Ava didn't make it to the first exam on time. Her grades plummeted. And she missed out on her dream university. Overwhelmed by despair, she jumped to her death. When Ava died, Edgar didn't shed a single tear. He applied to Tsinghua University with me. We completed our master's and doctoral studies together. And finally walked into the marriage hall. We started a company together and had a happy little family. I thought Ava's death hadn't affected him much. But then, on a rainy night, he stabbed me multiple times with a knife. Then pushed me off a tall building. If I had gotten Ava's admission ticket for her, Edgar said, she wouldn't have jumped. It's all your fault, you're a murderer. This line was the most dramatic part of the movie. After reading this, I felt a chill run down my spine. The pain of the blade piercing my heart gnawed at my entire body. Details I'd deliberately ignored began to surface in my mind. Ava and I were roommates. During festivals, if there was a gift for me, there would always be one for my roommate Ava too. I used to think Edgar gave gifts to my roommate because he wanted her to take better care of me. But now I realized, mango pudding was never my favorite. It was Ava's favorite. My hands trembling, I took out my phone and sent a message to Edgar. Let's break up. Whether these bullet comments were true or not, at the very least, in this life, I wanted to live. The exam venue gates opened. And thousands of examinees poured in. After 2.5 hours of writing furiously, I walked out of the venue smoothly. During the exams, Edgar and I didn't see each other once. It wasn't until the last exam was over, when my parents came to pick me up, that my mom said, "We've prepared a big feast to celebrate you and Edgar finishing the Gaokao." Mom and Dad, Edgar and I broke up, I told them. My mom froze. Did he bully you? Don't be sad, my baby girl. Tomorrow, Mom will take you to a bar to meet some cute guys. I couldn't help but laugh. It's just that we're not right for each other. My family and Edgar's family were family friends for generations. The two families wouldn't fall out over our breakup. A bullet comment suddenly flashed by. Baby girl, stop being happy so soon. After you die, the male lead will take the chance to take over your family's business. The smile on my face faded instantly. Edgar, you really are something. Pushing open the door of the banquet hall, Edgar's parents greeted me. Edgar was sitting in a corner playing video games. Edgar's mom took my hand. Stella, how did you do on the exam? I smiled. Getting into Tsinghua shouldn't be a problem. Edgar's mom froze. Stella, you're planning to go to Tsinghua? I thought you'd go to the same school as Edgar. So you could look out for each other in the future. Clearly, Edgar's mom knew that Edgar, who had missed one exam, could never get into Tsinghua. My mom pushed Edgar's mom aside. Oh, about that bet. Stella and Edgar have broken up. Edgar's mom rushed over, grabbed Edgar's ear, and yelled, "You little rascal. Did you bully Stella? Apologize right now." Edgar skillfully dodged her, then pulled me out of the banquet hall. Stella, Ava and I are just ordinary friends. Was it really necessary to make a scene in front of both our families? Can't you understand? I said we're breaking up, I replied. Edgar's face turned cold. I don't agree. My wrist ached from his grip, and I frowned instinctively. Edgar's reaction only made me more convinced of what the bullet comments had said. This is a notice, not a question, I said. I his hand coldly and walked back into the banquet hall. My best friend, Tina, burst into my house, kicked open my bedroom door, and yanked open the curtains. Stella, breaking news. Your ex-boyfriend went to get Ava's admission ticket. And in the end, neither of them made it into the exam room. Ava cried and hugged Edgar outside the exam venue. Reporters took photos of everything. They became famous overnight and jumped straight to today's headlines. I opened my eyes groggily, stayed silent for a moment, then said, "I know." Tina stared at me in shock. Huh? You didn't try to stop him? Our homeroom teacher was so mad when he found out he got yelled at by the principal in the office for 2 hours. If there hadn't been those bullet comments, I might have really tried to stop him. Now, I felt nothing but relief. It was his choice. Whatever the outcome, it has nothing to do with me. Oh, and I forgot to tell you I'm single now. Tina jumped 3 feet in the air, hopped onto my bed, and hugged me. Yes. I knew there was something fishy between him and that Ava a long time ago. Only you, with your good temper, could stand their ambiguous little touches and hugs. I laughed bitterly. Everyone else could see what was going on. Only I had been immersed in Edgar's tenderness. Foolishly unaware. But it didn't matter anymore. I couldn't wait to see what kind of school Edgar, who had missed one exam, could get into this time. At the graduation ceremony, Edgar walked into the private room with Ava in his arms. Under everyone's curious gazes, I calmly took a sip of my drink. Unexpectedly, Edgar walked up to me. Stella. We're over. I choked on my drink, then laughed angrily. So Edgar only accepted breaking up with Utter, she couldn't stand being broken up with himself? All kinds of gazes turned to me, pitying, sympathetic, mocking. I picked up my water glass and splashed the water at him. Remember this, it was I who dumped you. The air fell silent. Amid Ava's screams, several male classmates grabbed Edgar tightly to hold him back. Edgar's face was livid with rage. If looks could kill, I would have been torn to pieces long ago. Someone quickly changed the subject. Edgar. I heard you and Ava are planning to retake the Gaokao next year? Ava snuggled into Edgar's arms with a happy look on her face. That's right. Even though we missed the exam, I saw how much Edgar loves me. So we decided to retake the Gaokao together. And next year we'll get into Tingxue together. After graduation, we'll get married. He'll work to support me. And I'll stay at home and be his virtuous wife. Edgar looked proud when he heard this. Thanks to that admission ticket, I found my true happiness. Edgar gave me a provocative look, then leaned down and kissed Ava's lips. Several boys let out wolf whistles. Cat calls filled the private room. Tina glanced at me quietly, then leaned over and whispered. Edgar said he liked you just a while ago, and now he's changed his mind. He's such a player. I patted Tina's hand gently. Don't worry. I'm not sad. Edgar and I had been childhood sweethearts. We'd been together since we were born. Our crying had once left both our moms at a loss. When we played house as kids, he always loved pulling my braids and making me play his wife. In the first semester of our senior year of high school, he confessed his love to me. I agreed without hesitation. We'd inherited our parents' good genes, and become the envy of everyone as a campus couple. Even the teachers turned a blind eye to our relationship. I'd thought we'd go from campus to wedding dress. But all of that had come to an abrupt end because of a single admission ticket. Tina saw that I looked a little off and tried to comfort me. Look at how cocky they are. They'll probably just focus on dating during their retake year. If they get into Tingxue, I'll eat a pound of that. Well, anything. I burst out laughing. Then it's a deal. Tina panicked. Wait. And no, I was just joking. I stood up. Everyone. I have to leave first. I raised my glass to them, downed the drink in one go, and brought my high school years to a close. I picked up my bag and walked to the elevator. Seeing a sign on the elevator that said, under maintenance, I stepped into the dark stairwell. I just walked down one floor when red bullet comments made my pupils shrink. Baby. Run. Someone behind you is trying to hurt you. I instinctively started running. The sound of my high heels echoed in the silence. Someone in the bullet comments asked, what's going on? I bought the advanced episodes. Anna hired someone to kidnap baby girl and ruin her reputation. Is Ava crazy? Run. He's going to catch up. The sound of an adult man's footsteps grew closer and closer. Through the dim light, I saw a tall figure. The man toyed with his prey like a cat playing with a mouse. A cold hand pressed down on my shoulder. I turned around and swung my bag at his face. Taking advantage of his momentary pain, I pushed open the safety door and ran in. Baby girl. Keep running forward. There's someone ahead. I saw hope, but before I could run a few steps, I heard the click of a lighter. A boy leaned against the wall, his broken hair covering his eyebrows. A cigarette dangling from his thin lips. I didn't stop to think. I rushed up to him. Help me. Jace looked up, only to see someone running out of the darkness and crashing into his arms. Hiss, heading for cell session. He groaned. I rubbed my head. Our eyes met. And I froze. Wasn't this the school's top troublemaker? He had a long list of glorious deeds, fighting, and even sending someone to the hospital once. I trembled. Afraid he'd hit me too. Jace's calm voice rang out. What's wrong? Someone in the stairwell was chasing me, I said. Jace checked the stairwell, then picked up my bag and handed it to me. It's okay now. Let's go. Go where? I asked. I'll walk you home, he replied. On the way, the atmosphere was too quiet. So I started talking about Edgar and Ava's Gaokao results. He listened silently, and finally said, Edgar has a bad character. Have you considered breaking up with him? Sure enough, I was the only one in this world who hadn't seen Edgar's true colors. I spread my hands, looking relaxed. We already broke up. Add me on WeChat, he said suddenly. The topic shifted so abruptly that I hurried to take out my phone. Bullet comments popped up again. Baby girl. Do you know? Jace has had a crush on you for 3 years. Don't be fooled by his calm look, he's probably screaming with excitement inside. If Edgar hadn't made the first move, Jace would have confessed to baby girl a long time ago. Baby girl. Look. His ears are red. I glanced up quietly, and sure enough, the tips of the boy's ears were bright red. At my doorstep, I waved at him. Thank you for today. Let me treat you to dinner another day. Okay, he said. After my college entrance exam results came out, admission teams from Tingshui University and Peking University both visited my home. They competed fiercely to recruit me, saying I could choose any major I wanted. Before we broke up, Edgar always said, girls are more suited for landscape architecture. You get to prune flowers and plants every day, and the work is easy. But deep down, I was more inclined toward the computer science department. I looked up at the bullet comments on the screen. Everyone was chatting excitedly. Computer science. Computer science. Baby girl. Look at me. In the original plot, baby girl listened to Edgar, chose landscape architecture, and then struggled for a whole year to transfer to computer science. Computer science will be a popular major in the future. Many jobs will need people with this background. I firmly chose the computer science department at Tingshui University. As soon as I saw off the admission team, Jace sent me a message. Have you decided on your major yet? I told him my choice, and went to meet Tina for a trip to the mall as planned. At the restaurant, just as our dishes were served, we ran into Edgar and Ava. What a coincidence you're here for dinner too, Ava said, linking arms with Edgar and sitting down across from us without waiting for an invitation. I envy you for being able to spend time with your best friend. Unlike me, Edgar clings to me every day. I don't get a second of personal space, she complained. Edgar smiled fondly. If you're not with me, who else do you want to be with? You're so annoying, so overbearing, Eva said shyly, leaning in to kiss Edgar. Tina was so disgusted that she dropped her chopsticks. I handed her a new pair and said pointedly, then make sure you stay with Edgar every day. Otherwise, I'm worried it won't be safe for you to walk alone at night. After all, I paused, watching Ava's breathing quicken, then smiled and added, I heard there's a pervert wandering around lately. Ava quickly changed the subject. Stella, you must feel lonely going to college alone, right? It's such a shame Edgar can't be with you. He's going to repeat his senior year with me instead. I smiled, and a shadow suddenly fell over me. No shame at all. She and I are going to the same university. Same major, Jace said, standing beside me. His dark eyes fixed on me, and he exuded a strong presence. The bullet comments exploded with excitement. Wow, wow, wow. I shipped them so hard. The sound of wows filled the screen. Edgar's face turned green, and he stared at Jace warily. Stella, when did you meet this gangster? I retorted. Gangster? His college entrance exam score is higher than yours. Seeing Edgar's bad mood, Ava took the initiative to loop her arm through his. Babe, you just didn't take the Chinese exam. If you had, he wouldn't stand a chance against you. Oh right. Stella, what major did you choose? She asked. Jace, acting as if he belonged, sat down next to me, glanced at Ava sideways, and answered before I could, computer science. Edgar's face darkened, and he frowned at me. Didn't I tell you to apply for landscape architecture? You're a girl, what future is there in computer science? It's such an unpopular major. You'll be unemployed as soon as you graduate. Ada's eyes lit up. Really? Edgar nodded, pretending to be an expert. Looks like she'll have to rely on her parents to support her from now on. Tina was an art student and didn't know much about these majors. Hearing this, she flushed with anxiety and shot me a worried look. I spoke in a calm tone. What's it to you? Are you jealous that I got into Tingsua? Tina immediately joined in. Firing back, some people are repeating their senior year but still sitting here running their mouths. If I were you too, I'd be at home crying and studying right now. Edgar was infuriated. He slammed his fist on the table and shouted, how hard can Tingsua be? I'll just repeat the year casually. And getting in will be a piece of cake. Ava rested her chin in her hands, looking at him adoringly. By now, some passers-by had recognized Edgar and were holding up their phones to take videos. Edgar kept rambling. After I repeat the year with you, it won't just be Tingsua, we can pick any world-class double first-class university we want. Alla's eyes sparkled. Babe, you're so amazing. More and more people gathered to watch. Without a doubt, they'd be headline news again tomorrow. Edgar lost his appetite for dinner. He grabbed Ava and left in a hurry. Tina winked at me. Oh. I just remembered I left my dog in the washing machine and haven't taken it out yet. I'll head out first. Suddenly, adding fulfilled my. Only Jace and I were left. I tried to make small talk. What a coincidence you're here for dinner too. Jace pushed the cut steak in front of me. At my words, he let out a low laugh. Not a coincidence. I came specifically for you. Would you be interested in dating me, Stella? Half a month later, my admission letter arrived. My parents were so excited they cried, taking over a dozen photos to post on their moments. They even held a grand celebration dinner for my admission to college. Teachers, classmates, my parents' colleagues and friends all gathered together. I also invited Jace. At the dinner, I stood on stage to give a speech, thanking everyone for coming. When I finished, thunderous applause erupted from the audience. From the crowd, Edgar's mom looked at me with envy and regret. If our son hadn't broken up with Stella, he might have gotten into Tingsua by now, she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was just enough for everyone to hear. The room fell eerily silent. The Edgar family had always strictly disciplined Edgar, hoping to raise him into a gentle, refined young man. They probably couldn't figure out where they'd gone wrong, how Edgar had turned into such a rebellious, unruly child. Ava stood up with red eyes. If you don't like me, I can leave, she said. Edgar pulled Ada behind him to protect her, asserting his claim. Mom, Ada is my girlfriend. I like her. Please respect my choice. Edgar's mom looked at Ava with her heavy makeup and big wavy hair and trembled with anger. If you hadn't forced my son to go get his exam admission ticket, he wouldn't have missed the exam. Ava shook her head, putting on a pitiful expression. Babe, you know I didn't force you, having forced you, she said. Edgar spoke gently. I did it voluntarily. It's not your fault. He turned to his parents. The college entrance exam can be retaken, but love only comes once. Edgar's mom rolled her eyes and fainted in her husband's arms. Chaos broke out. Someone called an ambulance, and she was rushed to the hospital. I stepped in to smooth things over. Everyone, please enjoy your meal and have a good time. After the dinner, I stood on the balcony to get some fresh air. Jace appeared behind me and handed me a cup of milk tea. You've been busy all day, must be tired, he said. I smiled and shook my head. Jace looked annoyed. They ruined your admission dinner. It's fine, I replied. We looked up at the starry sky, the evening wind blowing through our hair. We stood in silence. I had turned down Jace's confession earlier. At the time, he'd shrugged and said he wasn't surprised. I just wanted to give my high school years a perfect ending, he'd said. He held out a hand. We're still friends, right? I smiled and shook it. Of course. In the library, Jace and I each had a cup of coffee, with stacks of books beside us. I planned to learn more during the summer break so I'd have more time and energy to improve myself in college. Unlike my hardworking approach, Jace was a naturally gifted top student. He rubbed his head, put down his book, typed a string of code on the keyboard, then brought the laptop to me like he was showing off a treasure. Stella, look. On the screen. Hearts bloomed. And a silly little character danced around. I couldn't help but laugh. Time flew by. And soon it was time for college to start. I was packing my luggage at home when the doorbell rang. I ran to open it and found an unexpected guest. Edgar had a gentle look on his face. "Stella, I want to talk to you for a minute." In the hallway. I grew impatient. "What do you want?" Edgar frowned, upset by my attitude, and stared at me intensely. The bullet comments drifted across the screen. "Baby girl. Ignore him. He's trying to get back with you, begging for reconciliation." Wait. What? I skipped ahead. Did Edgar and Ava break up? Edgar wants it all. He's greedy for both the one in his bowl and the one in the pot. A wave of disgust washed over me. I tried to walk past Edgar to go back inside. But he quickly reached out to stop me. "Stella. Stop being mad at me. If you don't make up with me now, you'll lose your chance once school starts," he said. I looked at him in confusion. I had no idea which part of my words had given him the impression that I wanted to reconcile. Edgar smiled confidently. "I know you still have feelings for me, or just jealous." I was speechless. "If I remember correctly, we already broke up, right?" He laughed. "I can't give you the title of girlfriend. But we can still be friends. Don't worry, Ava is very generous. She won't be jealous or mad." I couldn't reason with him. I lifted my leg to leave. "I still have things to pack. I'm going inside." "Stella. There's a limit to playing hard to get. Take a look at yourself. You're a mess. Anla is a million times better than you," he snapped. I said. "Then go find Ava. I don't want to be friends with you." Seeing my calm tone and lack of anger, Edgar felt an unexpected sense of frustration. "Don't think you can be arrogant just because you got into Tingshua. Competition is fierce now. You chose computer science. And you'll struggle to find a job later. When that happens, come to me. Maybe I can hook you up with a job that pays 3,000 a month." I rolled my eyes, slammed the door shut hard, and shut him out. Edgar got the cold shoulder. He yelled outside the door for a long time. But when he saw I wasn't responding, he left dejectedly. Later, Tina told me that on his way back, Edgar had been dragged into an alley and beaten up. His head had been covered, and there were no surveillance cameras on that round. He'd had to swallow this bitter pill in silence. "Who do you think did it?" Tina asked. I shook my head, but the bullet comments had already given the answer. Who else could it be? Our school hunk. Of course. The school hunk came to see baby girl all happy, only to find her being looked down on by that scumbag. Who could stand that? I had a hunch who it was. Once it was confirmed, I couldn't help but feel a little worried. I hoped Jace hadn't hurt his hand. When college started, Jace and I took the same flight to Beijing. After stepping into the university, I dragged Jace into a frenzy of studying. We competed for top grades and credits, vying for first place in academic courses. By our second year, professors had already named both of us to join their research projects. We easily became the counselor's favorite students. Jace and I remained friends, supporting and learning from each other. During the holidays, I went back home and met up with some high school classmates to visit our old school. Tina was studying at a local university. When she saw me, she chattered away, sharing gossip about Edgar. Edgar and Ava had messed around for a year, and in the end, neither of them had scored high enough to get into a bachelor's program. Both had failed the college entrance exam. They ended up going to a local junior college. Edgar's parents had turned gray overnight and finally gave up on trying to control him. Edgar and Ava, however, seemed to have opened the door to a new world. They picked up all sorts of bad habits, drinking, gambling, and more. "Sorry I'm late," a sickly sweet voice rang out. And a hat-on Manjawi style makeup, a trendy, bold makeup look, with dyed blonde hair. Her lip piercing and ear piercings glinted silver in the light. Edgar walked beside her, his eyes brimming with doting affection. "Slow down, what if you fall?" Our group's gaze fixed on Ava's stomach. Tina was the first to blurt out. "You're pregnant?" "Yeah. Almost for months along." Ava stroked her belly, her face radiating sweetness. She shot me a triumphant glance. "Edgar and I already agreed, once the baby's born, we'll have our wedding. Everyone has to come and support us then. Okay?" We exchanged looks. a silent understanding passing between us. Tina came over and linked her arm through mine, muttering, "This is way too explosive." Bullet comments flashed across my vision in a flurry. "Baby girl. Let me tell you something, keep your expression in check. The baby isn't Edgar's." This time, I was truly shocked. I dug my nails into the palm of my hand, forcing myself not to make a sound. Ava really knew how to play dirty. We bought fresh flowers for our homeroom teacher. Pushing open the office door, the teacher saw blonde-haired Edgar and pregnant Ava and immediately began coughing violently, struggling to catch his breath. "You're trying to kill me," he said. Edgar stood his ground defiantly. "Life has a million possibilities. Teacher, you need to respect our choices. And I are true love. I can support her and the baby." Back in high school, our homeroom teacher had high hopes for Edgar and me. He treated us like his star students, pinning all his hopes on us getting into Tsinghua or Peking University and building bright futures. After class, he often gave us extra tutoring. When Edgar was retaking his senior year, the teacher had talked to him earnestly, urging him to turn over a new leaf, but Edgar had remained stubbornly blind to reason. The teacher was getting on in years and in poor health, afraid he'd get sick from anger. We quickly rushed Edgar and Ava out of the office. We stayed in the office chatting about interesting college stories, managing to cheer the teacher up until he was grinning. He wiped his glasses and looked at me. "Stella, seeing how motivated you are put my mind at ease." Warmth filled my chest. The teacher had always worried I'd be crushed by the breakup with Edgar. Bullet comments chirped in my mind. "Our baby girl's life is only getting better now that she's rid of that scumbag. Men only hold our baby girl back from reaching her full potential." I stepped out halfway to go to the bathroom. When I came out, I ran into Edgar smoking nearby. "So? Seeing how happy I am now, you regret it, don't you?" Edgar raised an eyebrow, blowing out a ring of smoke. He looked me up and down. Actually, if you want to come back to me, it's not impossible. But first, lose those black-rimmed glasses, they're so tacky." I stepped back, fanning away the smoke in the air. "Hope you and Ava stay locked together forever. And never come out to harm anyone else again." Edgar smirked, stepping closer to me. "Of course she's my one and only. But if you're willing to be my mistress, I could make an exception. How does that sound?" Ada's dad is the boss of a well-known local company. "I'll get a job there right after graduation. Stick with me, and I'll make sure you live in comfort." He ambiguously lifted a strand of my hair. Slap. Ava charged out from the side. My cheek stung from the blow. With pain. "Stella, you're so shameless, still trying to seduce Edgar? So what if you got into Tsinghua? So what if you have a high degree? Men only like gentle, virtuous women. Who'd want a bookish tomboy like you? Edgar GE is mine. If you ever do this again, it won't just be a slap next time." Edgar blew on Ava's palm. "Baby, does your hand hurt?" Two unreasonable faunies. I raised my hand and slapped Ava across the face. "How dare you hit me? I hit exactly trash like you to scumbag and slut." I wasn't about to indulge them. Ava struck back, and Edgar joined in, swinging at me like a madman. "From now on, remember to walk around me. I have zero interest in your GE." Time flew by, and before I knew it, we were in our senior year of college. Jace and I were doing research under the same advisor. Our advisor was a renowned scholar, and the projects he oversaw were top-tier, cutting-edge ones. Jace and I successfully got recommendations for postgraduate studies. With more free time, we teamed up to start a company. It was still in its early stages, but growing steadily. Speaking of Jace, he'd been by my side all these years. Through countless days and nights, we'd pored over exam questions and research topics together. He was my study buddy and dining companion. I'd long grown used to having him around. To say I wasn't attracted to him would be a lie. Maybe we could take things further, become more than just friends. During the holidays, when I got home, a figure was standing at my door. It was the depths of winter. His lips were pale, and his fingers were red and swollen. He'd clearly been waiting for me a long time. The moment he saw me, Edgar stepped forward, delighted. His voice was hoarse. "Long time no see." I replied politely. "Long time no see." He rubbed his hands together. How have you been lately? You're graduating soon, are you planning to find a job? I kept my tone cold. I'm planning to go to graduate school. He froze, frowning in disapproval. Postgraduate exams are so competitive now. And your major doesn't have much future anyway. You'd be better off finding a job and starting work early. I got a recommendation for postgrad. I said. A recommendation? He was so shocked he could barely speak. Right. You've always loved studying, he said, stealing a glance at me. I'm planning to work. Ava's dad is letting me be the general manager at his company, annual salary of 1,000,000 yuan. I didn't care. Oh, congratulations. Do you have anything else to say? If not, I'm going in. He grabbed me, pinning me against the door, and held my hand tightly with a loving look. Stella, is there any chance for us? I've realized, after all these years, I still can't forget you. Suddenly, bullet comments flooded my vision. I didn't have time to push Edgar away. Baby girl, move quickly. Jace's heart is breaking. Save him, he's about to cry. Me. I should Edgar away hard. Get out of here, go free somewhere else. I walked to the corner. Jace was sitting in the snow, a split roasted sweet potato lying beside him. He'd huddled himself into his fluffy collar. I couldn't help but laugh. Bending down, I ruffled his hair. He looked up, his eyes glistening with moisture as he stared at me, the corners of his eyes still red. He asked dumbly, "Why are you here?" I said softly, "If I didn't come..." Someone was about to cry. I was not. I picked up the roasted sweet potato from the ground.